Welcome to the NAO show. We are 2 weeks out from live football. 2 weeks out?
Yeah, more or less. Yep.
Yes. And just in time for week 1, the NAO blows its freaking load all over Tradezilla. We had like 15 billion trades between last show and this show. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about trades, where Dylan fucked up, where Dylan didn't fuck up. It's going to be a travesty all the way around. So, you know who I am, because everybody comes to see this beautiful face. We got Marky Mark and we got Tank Top Mike in his tank top? No way. All right. Let's go. Looks like we're ready, Marky Mark. Let's kick it off.
That's right. The show where we're dudes talking about dudes who play with other dudes. A lot of those a lot of those dudes got traded this week. So let's get right to it, man. We got 9 trades to talk about.
What?
We're going to start off with a historic history-making trade. The first trade between 3 managers in the NAO league. Between yours truly and yours truly and yours truly. So everybody knows who the people are. We'll say who they got. So Tank Top Mike got a 2023 first that was Humpty's pick. Another 2023 first that was Sean's pick. He got Michael Pittman and he got the Gus Bus. And Sean, Mr. Airgate himself, got Cam Akers, a 2022 second, which was Humpty's, and another 2022 second, which was Mike's. McJammer got Ezekiel Elliott. So, Mike, start us off. You started this thing, man.
I don't even know where trading Zeke came from, but we did it. We certainly did it. This one, it was a great 3 manager trade. I think we I don't know how much info we all want to give, so I'll be a little vague at first, but
go ahead.
We started. Let's see. I went to sushi. What night was that? Friday. So we started talking about it on Friday and accepted it 2 days ago. So it took a little while. Yeah. Ian said I could mention a lot of stuff, or what we had talked about. Ian was in pretty big on it. Once he found out Zeke was being traded, there was a 3rd manager. I don't know if Evan wants me to say, so I won't say who it was.
We won't mention any names.
So yeah, it took a little while, but in terms of three-man trades, there was a lot of value flying around. I think we all kind of got what we wanted to in the end. I think that the time that we put into it made it worth it. I think we got a good trade where everybody kind of got some good value.
Mike, what do you think about the pieces you got, man?
I'm excited about those pieces. You guys might know a little more, which maybe edged you guys out over at Ian's offer. Ian's offer was actually pretty good. I won't say what that is for him, but Ian's offer was pretty good, and I went back and forth for a long time on that. And you guys did have the advantage of draft capital, and you guys had the advantage of knowing that I like the 2023 draft as much as I do. So those 2023 firsts, I know Evan likes to say that firsts don't stick around, but those 3 picks I've got, those are definitely staying where they are, no matter what happens. That's the plan. So I do like that draft quite a bit, especially, for some positions that I need. So yeah, that was the deciding thing really was, I'm going to stroke, Ian's ego here a little bit. Ian's team was just a little bit too good to get Zeke for what he was offering in the end. And then those 2023 firsts were the nice cherry on top for me. So yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, I guess I'll go second, seeing how I was the second person in this trade. So I totally agree with everything you said about the trade overall, Tank Top Mike. I think I personally have put three manager trades together, and 2 of them, counting this one, was very good for everybody. And this is the first one that I got over the goal line. So I feel like I really accomplished something and it's going on my resume, and I will happily explain why I put that on my resume at every job interview. For me, this trade almost didn't happen because of me, which was kind of funny, because of the Pittman value. I valued Pittman at more of a second rounder. He was more of a first rounder for me. So when Mark threw in the second rounder, I was more apt to say yes to it. And really, if Cam Akers comes out like we've seen Marlon Mack and OJ Howard with their Achilles injuries, and he comes back and he's at least 95% of what he was before he got injured, not to say that I won this trade, but I would have considerably Cam Akers as a 2 first-round picks. So I would have had moved Pittman in a first-round pick for 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks in the same year. So I like the upside. I do take quite a bit of risk with Cam Akers because we never know what he's going to come back and what his mindset is. Is he going to be all right, I'm coming back type guy, or is he going to be all right, my career is in the hammock of what uncertainty, you know what I mean? So we'll see what that happens, but I like what I got out of it. What do you think there, Mark?
Yeah, I like it for everybody, and it was fun. I hope that some of the other guys can experience what we did with the negotiations, because it was up and down and back and forth, and it was like Mike said, it was starting out on a Friday and not even finishing up until maybe Saturday, but not even finishing up until a few days later. And it sat out there. I kept looking and like, oh, the trade's still there. The offer's still there, you know? And I was like, as long as it's still there, there's still hope, you know?
Yep.
So it was a lot of fun. I actually enjoyed just the negotiations. It was a lot of fun for me. Zeke is a win now move, of course. I'm not holding out hope that he's going to be on my squad for a long time. He's had over 1,000 touches in the last 3 years. Cowboys have an out on him in a couple of years. So I think 2 years is the most that I'll see out of him, but it certainly helped after losing Akers. Sean, you definitely get, in on a young guy that was ranked in the ECR for Dynasty as the 15th player, not the 15th running back. He was ranked as the 15th player overall. So this is a guy with some great upside that the experts are high on, and you may have gotten them at a discount there. And a couple of second rounders in there is going to help. And yeah, I like it for Mike because he's got guys that he can play in place of Zeke, and he's got those 2023 first. And yeah, so I love it all the way around, man. This was a great trade. This was a lot of fun. So
the one thing I will say about the 3 manager trade is that we were able to disperse the value of Zeke pretty effectively, because on a 2 manager trade, the person getting Zeke would have had to start with 2 first-round picks and a guy, and that would have been baseline, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But with me and Mark throwing in our first-round picks, we were essentially getting it at a discount.
Yeah.
For me, especially because I was getting Akers back, depending on how he comes back. But Mark, you did have to put the first round in the second round, but that second round could easily have been a first round pick, and you still give up Gus Edwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if I could have done it by myself. I probably wouldn't have even tried. And interestingly enough, I probably wouldn't even been in this trade if it hadn't been for Ricky coming after Deshaun Watson and giving me a first rounder in 23. So that thing was burning a hole in my pocket, man. I don't hold on to first very long. As long as I got I feel like I have a roster that compete now. So yeah, that trade made this trade possible. Well, guys, let's move on. We got a lot of trades to talk about. This one's a pretty quick hitter. We've got Humpty receiving Darrington Evans and Silly Dilly receiving a 2022 third, which was Humpty's pick. Mike, quick comments on that one.
Yeah, I think as long as Humpty doesn't accidentally trade Derrick Henry again, I think that this one works pretty well for everybody. I think you want your backup, a 3rd round pick is a nice price for it. Easy done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that for Dylan. This is one of his positive trades. I think he moved a bench guy and got a good value at 3rd round.
Yeah, little draft capital out of it. I pull for guys like Darrington Evans. He comes from Appalachian State, and so small school guy trying to make it. He's got a little bit of a hamstring going on. He had to come out of the preseason game. I think he didn't get much work, and he got a little bit of a hamstring going on. But I don't think it's severe. So he may get back in there. So it was right after he had traded for him. So I know that probably killed Humpty to see Evans go out of the game, but maybe it's not too serious and he'll get in there. And I really hope Evans does a good job. He's got a chance to win the number 2 job. A little bit undersized, but he's a guy that he can be involved in the passing game. He could definitely have a role. So
can we say that the league value for a okay backup is a 3rd round pick now?
I mean, I don't know. It's just he likes Evans. He's a Tennessee guy. Dylan wanted some draft capital. Probably not. I think this was after the trade where he got Jacobs, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So he's probably thinking, yeah, I can give up Evans now. I can get a pick, and I'm happy. So one of those things where we'll have to see what the value is later on. If Evans does become the number 2. And gets any kind of playing time, then he's definitely got some juice. He's a good athlete. So
speaking of values, not that we're using calculators, but just because it was so many, this was actually the lowest value single trade of the day. Ours was first by quite a bit, but this was the lowest one. Yeah. Actually, I take that back. It's not the lowest one. I can't read. Not the lowest one.
Not the lowest one. Okay.
I was gonna say
it was down there.
I have a trade in there for Guyton that was pretty.
Yeah, that was the lowest one. Yeah,
it was down there.
Lowest overall value of a single trade. Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised this next one wasn't the lowest one, but maybe it's because Cole Beasley was involved. So we had run it back, acquiring Cole Beasley, and the DBs, and no, that does not stand for defensive backs. They receive a 2023 4th and a 2023 5th from Run It Back. Mike, start us off on this one.
This is an interesting one. Aaron has made a lot of trades that I agree with. This one I'm kind of on the fence about, but I know that I'm probably lower on someone like Beasley than some other guys. I don't know if I was the only one that had Beasley in a lot of trade offers recently, but yeah, he was thrown my way pretty often for some trades that were probably pretty fair in the end, but I'm just kind of low on Beasley. But he's a pretty consistent slot guy. That offense is going to be pretty good. And then Aaron has Josh Allen. So if he has to throw him in, he gets the stack as well. So yeah. I think that's really the selling point for me and then Shagan Baker, I don't know what we're doing with them.
They're the DBs.
The DBs. They're
until further notice, they're the DBs.
They throw around some trade picks some draft picks pretty often, so they got some more ammo. It's only a 4th and a 5th, so it's not too much. But we all know how much Brandon likes future 4ths. So if he has one now. So.
Oh, he was happy. They're 23s, so he run it back. Aaron pushed it out even. So, what do you think, Sean?
I couldn't agree with Tank Top Mike even more. I think Cole Beasley, I didn't even consider the stack effect of Allen, because I was looking at how running backs lineup looks right now, how is Cole Beasley going to make it to the starting lineup? And it's going to be at that flex 3 spot. And I was like, oh, why would he even do that? And then I was like, oh, when he said Allen, I was like, the stack is going to be pretty good, because as we all know, Beasley will get targeted, just a matter of if he stays healthy and stays on the field and that sort of thing. And because I think a 4th and a 5th and 23 and 24, I think that's worth a guy that the fucking DBs were probably going to drop regardless,
Yeah. It's funny. Beasley had the big old, the vaccine controversy going on. I looked back and it's been 22 days since he reported, because he had said maybe he wouldn't even play. But he reported. There's been no news for 22 days on him, so I'm guessing he's just there and doing his thing. We haven't heard anything about the whole vaccine controversy, so we'll see what happens with all that. I thought about making an offer for him when Evan was almost begging for a fourth rounder, just somebody to take him off their hands. Like you say, Sean, probably they were going to drop him. He was probably first up on their drop list, So the fact that Aaron pulled that trigger and maybe pairs him with Allen, I mean, that's not the guy he wants to put in his flex, but injuries happen, and maybe that's his first man up. So
yeah, not everybody can have a goofy season where he doesn't see any injuries.
Right. So if he gets an injury and he's got to put in Beasley, at least he's got a guy that could catch a touchdown from Josh Allen. He's got that stack. So it was a good move for him. I thought hard about it. I just didn't have anybody I wanted to drop at the time. Beasley's, I think, 32, so he's not going to be around long, but he's been consistent. And PPR, half PPR, he gets some points, man. He gets targeted. He gets a lot of catches. So I kind of like it for him. It's kind of a ho-hum deal, but when you look at the guy who got Beasley, it's not too bad. So let's go on to a bigger and better trade. So this one here is Silly Dilly and Airgate. Silly Dilly received Josh Jacobs, and Airgate, our buddy Sean, got Jerry Jeudy, a 2022 second rounder, which was his originally, so he got it back. Sean got his pick back there. And then 2023 second, which was Dylan's pick. This was the first of 5 trades completed on Friday the 13th. Everybody remembers it was just a weird day, man. It was just like,
I hate to give credit to this owner, that other guy, but I remember him distinctly going, "What is going on here?" Like, what's happening? Like,
it was a fun day, man. That was fun. Do you want to start, Sean, or do you want to let Mike start this one?
I'd like to hear what Tank Top might say.
All right, Tank Top, let's hear it.
Yeah, this one, I go back and forth on this one. I think it's an interesting one, especially with our league's relationship with calculators. If you were to put this one in, Silly loses pretty handedly. But when you start looking at team makeup and stuff, Silly needed that running back. He got a good running back, and Sean, I think, got a good young wide receiver. I think Sean's move was more of a dynasty move. Silly's was maybe more of like a redraft type move to win, get that young running back. But yeah, so it is kind of interesting. Like we always say, check the calcs and stuff. But, if you do on this one, Silly looks like the usual idiot. But I get why he would make the move, and I get why Sean would make it from his side. Both very different reasons to go into the trade, I think, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure I'd peg it as my favorite of the whole day necessarily, but it is, I think, the most interesting from both sides. And I think, like any other trade that's pick heavy, we'll see how Sean makes those picks. And I think that kind of settles it. But I'm pretty high on Jeudy, actually. I think if I remember right, Sutton may or may not end up in Denver for very long. And I think Jeudy has the potential to be a true wide receiver one there. So they just got to figure out that quarterback stuff. But he might have Aaron Rodgers thrown to him in 2 years. So who knows?
Or Deshaun Watson. I can hope, right? Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I said it right that time. With the term interesting, because this is probably the first time that we've seen a top 10, top 15 running back. Can we kind of agree on that? Josh Jacobs, top 15.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Probably just outside of one high-end 2 guy.
That didn't require two first round picks. But I'm going to say that I got the same value because Jerry Jeudy in our very first inaugural NAO rookie draft, he went number 8 right behind with Justin Jefferson, the true rookie of the year.
Let it go.
But
I don't have Herbert anymore, so you can have it. I don't care.
Yeah, because you're accepting that I'm right. I get it. It's okay. And then the seconds were good value. I mean, I get a second that I didn't have this year and a second that I didn't have next year. I think it'll be good. I mean, there's nothing saying that I won't move those seconds for something else because I got seconds. You want seconds? I want players. Come get me. But yeah, I love Jerry Jeudy. If they get a freaking quarterback that can actually see what the heck they're doing, I really hope that Teddy Two Gloves wins out on the quarterback, which I think he really will. And Teddy Two Gloves will be very positive for Jerry Jeudy. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, still unsettled.
Just before I give the floor to you, I'm sorry. The reason I wanted to move Josh Jacobs was not because of Josh Jacobs, which is kind of what stopped me from moving him. Well, what held me up from moving him, because Josh Jacobs alone has the talent to be a fantastic running back in this league, has shown that he has the talent to be a fantastic running back in this league. The thing that stopped me is what y'all talked about 2 weeks ago with freaking the Raiders giving up their whole offensive line. And we all know how the Cincinnati Bengals did last year with that line. So I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, one of the best guys. He's a good running back. On a better team, man, this guy would be killing it. But he's just not in all that ineptitude, which is the Las Vegas Raiders. So I think it was a good chance for Dylan to take, though, because like Mike said, his running backs, he had like Ronald Jones, Damian Harris, who he keeps saying is going to be really good. And I agree up to a point that Harris is going to be an RB2 in the league this year. ATN, probably a little bit of uncertainty there.
On him.
And so I think it was a good move for Dylan. I love Jeudy. The quarterback situation still unsettled, but Locke was looking okay this first game. It's preseason. We won't get too excited. I don't know if I'm a believer in Locke yet. I think Bridgewater could be good. He'd be that steady guy that could get Jeudy the ball. Judy's is one of the best route runners in the league, and he'll only get better. And he's got that upside. I think you got a good one there. It's funny, Sean, because you had your 4 running backs. You went out and paid for Allaire and Mixon. You had Carson and you had Jacobs, and it's like you overpaid for the 2 guys, and now you've gone wide receiver centric, and you've traded away Carson, traded away Jacobs, and you look down your lineup and it's all receivers now. But you got some good guys, so you did a little bit of a different approach, but
That's another interesting thing about the whole trade day was this league is really hard to trade running backs in.
Yeah.
It is difficult to go out and get a running back.
Yeah.
And we haven't gotten to them all yet, but Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson, and Zeke and Akers all got traded in like 48 hours.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I didn't even consider that. That's a great point.
And Tony Pollard, one of the better handcuffs in the league. But that one's coming up soon. All right, let's get on to our next one. This is a quick hitter too. So the DBs got Brian Edwards, aka the Floozy, that we used to pass around like frat house brothers. And Humpty got a 2024 third rounder. What do you think, Mike, real quick on this one?
I want Brian Edwards back, and I think Brandon should answer my messages. That's all I have to say about this trade.
All right. What do you think, Sean?
I think Edwards is not staying on the DBs. He will go to at least 3 different teams this year, and you can put it on the board.
I love Edwards, man. I got him in my other dynasty, and hoping he hits this year. I guess that's what the DBs are gambling on, that he might hit this year. He's definitely got a lot of talent. So we'll have to see if the ineptitude that I previously mentioned in Las Vegas will actually use him in any capacity this year. Humpty gets a third rounder, 2024. I mean, jeez, man, I don't even know if I'll be around in 2024. So
You freaking better be. Don't even talk like that.
all right. All right. Sorry, man. Didn't mean to upset you there, Primo. All right. So let's go on to the next trade. We've got the DBs again. And no, that does not stand for defensive backs. Did I mention that?
Yeah.
DBs does not stand for W. There you go. Okay. All right. The DBs traded with Silly Dilly. Oh, so we were loving you a minute ago, Silly Dilly, but spoiler alert, I don't think we're gonna be loving you too much on this one. I think
You might want to plug your ears as they
yeah,
say.
yeah, la 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 la. So DBs get Robbie Anderson, Tony Pollard, and a 2024 second. You gotta love this league, man. We're trading 2024 picks in 2021. How far can we go out? That's how far we want to trade.
You're gonna give us.
Yeah. All right. So Robbie Anderson, Tony Pollard, 2024 second. Silly Dilly gets Odell Beckham Jr., who Mike had traded previously to the DB. So Mike, what do you think about this trade?
Yeah, I think as soon as this trade went through and I looked at it, I picked my jaw up off the floor and I managed to message Evan and say, I wish I could have gotten anything close to that value for Odell Beckham because that's incredible. I remember when I made my trade, I thought, I'm not very high on Beckham. I think if you take that his name is Odell Beckham off the board and you look at his stats, off the field stuff, on the field stuff, and you're going to get rid of him. Everybody would get rid of a player like that. And his name's Odell Beckham. And like Sean said, he made a pretty cool catch in a game that the Giants lost to the Dallas Cowboys. And he's living off that. And I like Beckham. I like him as a player, but, as a fantasy asset, I think, it was time to move on for me for sure. And, this is one where you can't argue calcs. You can't argue anything. I think that this was just a blunder of a trade on Silly's part. Like Mark said, Pollard is a top tier backup. Like Sean, you said, is a backup running back worth a third, and some of them are, but Pollard is one that is definitely not, because I had tried for Pollard when I had Zeke, and I wouldn't have even dreamed of offering a third. And then to even throw in a second, on top of that, and Robbie Anderson, I don't get that one. Especially you look at Silly's team makeup for a while, it was a lot of young, good wide receivers. So he lost Judy and replaced him with Beckham. And, you want to talk dynasty moves. I don't get that one. I get it for the underdogs or the DBs. I'm sorry. I get it for them because great move, great value. If they were in or not on Zeke, I don't want to say. Evan, I won't tell him. But, even if you don't have Zeke, Pollard is a great backup to have. I think, like Mark said, Dallas might be out on Zeke. I could keep going. You're up, Sean.
All right, thanks for leaving the ends of the steak on this one. All right, I just want to go on like where I would have accepted this trade with the pieces. Robbie Anderson and the 2024 third round pick for OBJ is something I would have been able to get behind. But the addition of Tony Pollard, which, like Mike said so eloquently, that he is probably one of the best handcuffs in the league right now. And that is coming from a guy that does not agree that Kareem Hunt is a handcuff. He has his own standalone fantasy value. He is legitimately an RB2. He could be on a different team and be an RB1 in a freaking instant. But Tony Pollard is definitely one of the top guys there. So I think if the trade kind of looked like that, it'd look a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm out on OBJ for a lot of the reasons that Mike is, and it's just not a high volume passing team. Good defense there, run the ball. How much can he do even if he gets back to old OBJ? So I wasn't really in on that at all. I like Anderson reunited, and it feels so good with Sam Darnold. Anderson's got a little bit of a hammy going on. He's been out since last Friday, but it's early, so he can recover from that and get out there. Yeah, Pollard was a good one here to get, and then that 2024 second. It's out in the future, but it's a good high pick maybe. So didn't like this one for Dylan as much as I did the Jacobs one. All right, moving on. Let's go to a trade that two of us, maybe even three of us, said was our favorite trade of all of them. This was Humpty trading with Run It Back. So Humpty received Marquise Brown, Devin Singletary, and a 2022 first rounder. That was Aaron's pick, 2022 first. Aaron, Run It Back, got Chris Carson. Start us off, Mike, if you would, please.
Yeah, now this is the one where you look at it and you say that's an Aaron trade, because that one makes sense pretty much all the way around. I was kind of waiting for Aaron to move on Devin Singletary. And I think that Humpy is the guy to go to since he has Zach Moss. It's a difficult backfield to own both of those guys, but it's sort of one where you kind of want to for some weird reason.
Not a necessity.
It really is. Yeah. And moving on Hollywood, I can see that, Hollywood always kind of feels short on expectations, but the man is very talented. And, they brought in Bateman. And if you remember on the last show, Aaron talked about they're probably going to go to a more traditional offense. So it wasn't too surprising for Marquise to move off Aaron's team either. And then I don't want to steal what you said in the pre-show, Mark. So I won't too much on Carson, but it makes a lot of sense for Aaron's team to have Chris Carson. And I'll leave it at that for you.
All right.
Yeah, I was looking at Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, to acquire him, and I was looking at him as a guy that was probably not going to be a target for me. But if there was ever a bigger trade in the works, I was going to try to add Hollywood Brown to that trade to acquire him, and I think that was right around the same value as what Avon was thinking about sending him. And I love the trade for both teams really a lot, because Humpty gets the first round pick next year, which is probably going to be a mid-round pick, if I could probably guess right on there.
And he trades draft picks really well too. So he's going to use that really well.
Very, very well. And I think running back saw Kelsey move to that team. And he's like, hey, you know what? I'm here too, and I'm not going anywhere, so I'm going to go get a guy, and you can't freaking stop me. And he went and got Carson to shore up that flex spot.
Shoring up the flex. That's what we're all about here in the NAO show. Yeah, I love this for both guys, like you just said, Sean, because to get a first rounder next year out of Chris Carson, who is a 1 or 2 year guy for Dynasty, probably, depending on how he does with the injuries. That's a great get. To get Singletary and Brown in the bargain is good. What Mike was alluding to earlier, what I was talking about Aaron's lineup, was that he had Kenyon Drake in the flex, and he looked at his roster and it was like, yeah, it's not bad, But now he adds Carson in there in the RB2 spot, and he bumps Kareem Hunt down there to the flex and Kenyon Drake down to the bench. I'm like, hey, there you go. That's a nice looking starting lineup,
Yes,
Now, he doesn't have a lot of depth. He's got maybe, I remember Beasley and one other guy on his bench. So I was like, okay, if he gets any injuries, these will be the guys he's flexing in. But if he can stay healthy, man, he's got the team to make a run. He definitely does. He is in win now mode, and he's going all in. So I wish him luck. He's definitely made some good moves to get there. Just on the Humpty side, Brown has got a hammy injury going on right now. Singletary, Moss is dealing with a hammy as well. Maybe Singletary gets a little more. I'm not crazy about Singletary, but
I feel sorry for anybody that has to pick who to start each week, Singletary or Moss.
I like Moss a lot, but if he's going to be nursing a hamstring, he had the injuries last year. Singletary was just kind of hanging around doing it because Moss couldn't get in there. So
here comes Breda.
Yeah, when I had Moss and Aaron had Singletary, there's a few times it came up like one of us should probably trade the other, and it was just like, no, I don't really want to deal with that. But like it makes sense to be on the same team.
It does, man.
I didn't want to be the one to do it.
Yeah, could show up that flex as the lesser of two evils, right? So. All right, quick hitter here. We have Airgate trading with FNG. Airgate got Jalen Guyton FNG gets a 2022 third. Quick, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, Sean likes his upside guys, and Guyton is an upside guy. A third may or may not have been too expensive.
Oh, it is. It totally.
I think he should have paid like a 3.75 round draft pick, maybe. But Guyton, if he's tied to Herbert in that offense, you may be struck gold, maybe not.
That's what I was thinking there, Tank Top Mike, and I want to give out a clear warning to the rest of the league. Check those calculators before you send blind trades, because they just might accept it on the first shot, just like FNG. I sent that trade, and 5 minutes later it was accepted because FNG is no slouch. Even though he is rebuilding, he is no slouch, let me tell you.
Yeah, we'll talk a little more about FNG. I like Guyton. He looked good in the game the other day. He got a lot of targets from Herbert last year. He's the deep ball guy. I like him. I think he was worth picking up. I third rounder, I think that was a bargain. I think it was pretty. I don't know if I'd say even. I think you did pretty well to get that guy in there. It's a good upside guy. So I like him. I had him in my other league, but I had to drop him, unfortunately. But anyway, let's move on here. Last trade, the Queen Mother. We got a couple of minutes, guys. We got to make it quick. The Queen Mother. That son of a bitch got Kelsey. A 2022 second, which was FNG's, and a 2024 second, which was FNG's. FNG got a 2023 first. I can't see. Oh, yeah, that was Ian's pick. 2023 first and a 2022 first, which was Sean's pick. Also got Harrison Bryant, which was a waiver wire pickup for Steele. And he got Scotty Too Hottie Miller, which is a waiver wire pickup for Steele.
Wide receiver 4 in that league.
Steele found another guy to take out the trash. How do you like that? Mike, real quick.
Yeah, I think a lot of us knew that he was shopping Kelsey, so it wasn't too surprising to see him, but you hit the nail on the coffin. He found someone to take out the trash. He managed to, pick up Kelsey, so he has the tight end 1, 2, and 3 from last season, and managed to get Kelsey without touching much, no starters, and some firsts are expensive, but he's set for the next 2 years at least. So this is why you don't get Zeke.
Go ahead, Mark.
All right. Now I was just going to say, man, maybe FNG didn't hear the podcast that Evan was so nice to go out and get for us. But the guy said, hey, the guy might win the championship, but you don't have to help him. FNG, get on board here, man. We're not trying to help galvanized blue steel win anything, man. So it's a little disappointed to see him go there.
And on that note, stop sending your best players to freaking that guy. All right, Ian, you suck.